Randy, baby.
Ever since that one night and where you guys shared a bed, nothing makes me uncomfortable now.
I wish that was it.
I mean, that was his wedding night. You got to give him away.
Yeah. Gotta give him away the right way.
I was inciting prima nocta.
See, the best was Shobi fucking passed out on the fucking... that was so bad.
I think he was hungover the rest of the time they were in San Diego.
He, I don't know how you could fucking lay on that table comfortably like that.
I don't know how you're still standing when you're passed out like that.
Well,
you know what I mean? It was like his legs were
fucking
legs were buckled
he's
underneath
all
him.
crumpled up on the fucking table.
Oh, it is. Oh yeah, your anniversary's coming up pretty soon.
17th.
1 year.
Holy shit! That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because this was just the week of the bachelor party.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Damn.
Yeah, we gotta
That's
figure out
quick.
where we're going. It's
Holy
funny.
shit!
We were trying to
This quick.
Yeah, that shit was quick. We were trying to figure out where to go for our anniversary dinner, and all the nice restaurants in San Diego are steakhouses, and we're not really that big steakhouse people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out though.
Usually, I feel like Italian restaurants.
Yeah, that's literally what we were looking at.
Yeah,
and they're usually more affordable too. So
you know what place I've been wanting to go to too is that what's that? It's in Little Italy, damn it, I can't remember now. Not Lion's Den. It's right next to Kettner Exchange.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Recommendation though, try Civico 1845.
I've heard a lot of good things about that place.
And especially if you're doing plant-based, they have a plant-based lasagna there. It tastes like the real thing. It's so good.
Nice. Dude, this is going to bug me. Born and raised. That place.
Yeah.
I heard that place was supposed to be really good and fancy.
I have to give it a shot. We'll see. I still got a few more weeks.
You got a little bit, yeah. So, I told you I'm going to tell you the story. We'll lead into it. We'll intro with this.
Okay.
So Sarah was supposed to drive up back to San Jose on Tuesday. On Saturday night, she was driving back from here to her mom's house in RB. And when she's driving on the 163 and merges on the 15, she hit an animal.
Oh, no.
I don't know what kind, I don't know what size, but it took out it was kind of on the passenger side, the grill, and that pushed the radiator, completely knocked the radiator out.
Totaled?
It didn't total it, but she just said, yeah. Luckily, her insurance is really good, so it's a small deductible for her to get it fixed. But yeah, man, it was
it must have been a big animal. I feel like
it was probably it was probably a raccoon or a small.
Raccoons are
dog.
pretty big.
Yeah, I mean.
It wasn't like a
cat.
It wasn't like a deer or something
or
like
a
that.
wolf or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we don't have deer running around on the 163.
Exactly.
Dude, I saw a deer one time driving over from work by Arrow Drive over there.
What?
Yeah. Early in the morning, I'm like, what the fuck? Did I just see a deer?
Yeah.
Watch out, those things are dumb. They'll run right at you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was pretty shaken up after it. So yeah, now she's staying until she flies back Sunday now.
Damn. There's some teenagers that had a big ass accident. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, I didn't see it.
No, so
that
on ramp onto the 163 from the 8.
Yeah.
A car launched off that ramp and flew into the bushes or trees down below in between the 163 and the 8 freeway there.
Like how it goes, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
I guess they were drinking a bunch. The driver survived and a couple others, but two of them died.
Yeah,
damn.
I saw that too. I was like, damn.
The crazy thing is I saw them we were actually driving over on the 8 freeway when they were actually investigating because I guess they have people come out whenever there's people that die and they investigate to make sure well, let's make sure that they launched off at this angle and this so they try to figure out exactly what happened, and they blocked off the on-ramp to the 163 from the 8, and the car was burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
And that was crazy.
I know. Luckily, she was like, I wish I would have seen it. I could have like gotten out of the way. I was like, dude, I'm so happy you didn't see it because if you would have swerved, you could have flipped. Like,
yeah,
you could have done
absolutely.
anything,
The best thing to do in those situations is hit the animal.
Just plow right through it.
Yeah.
Just be ready to swerve or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad she's okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So she just shaken up or what?
Yeah, she was just shaken up for like that night that we just towed the car back here, just because it was closer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like that type of person too. That's like, I don't really trust insurance. I'm like, I'll just fix it. You know what I mean? I don't know how much it's going to cost through them. I don't know what my rate's going to be afterwards. Like, I'll just fix it, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I was like, oh, just bring it back here. We'll look at it in the morning. But she called her mom, and her mom started digging through their like insurance papers or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess like they have a special clause for an animal. It was like $100 deductible.
Oh, sweet.
And I was like, oh, well then just fucking take it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
$100 deductible.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
and that's
like
like
cheaper than what the.
That's like when we
cost.
hit that deer in Indiana.
That's why we pay so much money for insurance. So, like,
just in case, man.
You just never know when shit like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Ask my sister.
No.
What did that happen to your sister? Or?
She just totaled her car.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why we bought a new one today.
Yeah.
But she's good. She had a concussion, but she's okay.
All right, let's get into it. You ready?
Boys, let's get to it. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Lights, camera, action.
What's up, everybody? Damn. I'm not going to be able to do it. Ryan, you got to take it.
What's going on?
I don't know, dude. My throat is just kind of strained. I feel like it might be getting sick or something.
What's up, everybody? This is Three Amigos and a Podcast coming to you live from Dean's house.
What's up? What's up?
How's everybody doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited for this weekend.
Nice. What do you got going on?
I got a VIP badge to go to the Farmers Open at Torrey Pines to sit on the 18th hole in the VIP President Suite.
That's awesome work.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Are you hoping you catch his sweat rag when he tosses out to the crowd?
Whose?
I don't know. Well, someone.
No.
Are you on Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Nice. That's
awesome.
So
it's not like the most important day, but
that's still awesome,
it's
though.
like to be right there.
And it like leads right into the, Sunday.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm just excited. I'm really excited at that.
Damn,
but
dude, that was pretty incredible.
Besides that, yeah, the week was good. Like I said, had that ordeal on Saturday with Sarah hitting an animal. So that was fun to deal with, and she was up till like 3 a.m. because she just was all shaken up and whatever.
I'm all shook up.
Yeah. But besides that, not too much. Pretty good week.
Nice. What about you, B?
Did a couples massage on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, the lady was digging deep into my back. Like,
she was getting in there.
I felt like she was using her. I don't know what she was using, but I thought she was using her elbow in between my shoulder blade and my back and like my spine.
Hurt? Like, was it comfortable?
It hurt for like a little bit, and then she like massaged it for a second. Oh, you tight.
That's what she said. Sorry.
And I'm like, how literally how hard do you want it?
We clipped so much on that. Like, you screamed into the mic. Everybody that's listening.
I was like waiting for it. I was like, no, don't do it.
Everyone's deaf now.
Everyone's car speakers just blown out now. Anyway, sorry, Brandon. So you were saying you were nice and tight?
Yeah, just too tight, man. And Dama's been complaining about it ever since. She's like, damn, they dug in too deep. And she was
complaining that you were too tight, or
no,
you're not tight anymore.
Because she got the massage too, and she actually got a gift card for this massage parlor. So we're like, she actually got it like a couple of years ago. And we're like, are we ever gonna go to this thing or what? And we're like, you know what, screw it, let's do it this weekend.
I mean, you could tell them like it's too much. You'd be like, ease up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was just for a little bit. It was in between my shoulder blades, but I figured once she and it's probably good for me too. You got to loosen it up.
It sucks because you can't see Ryan's face. He's hiding behind the mic, but I can see his face, and it's like, stop it.
I just am going with it, you know.
Stop it.
I'm sorry. It's a total Michael Scott moment.
But no, outside of that, just kind of low key weekend.
Nice.
How's your week?
How was yours?
It's good. Watched some football on Sunday. Didn't really do too much. Kind of relaxing. I am working like 7 days straight before we go on vacation next week because my boss is out of town this week.
Mm-hmm.
And just how the schedule ended up working out, he's like, "Oh, I can throw this day off," and I was like, "It's whatever." So no, just kind of calm before the storm. I helped my sister buy a car today, so that was fun. Got to go in there and give her some tips on what to look for when she's buying a new car and make sure the safety ratings are high.
Safety
That's
ratings.
what she needs.
Yeah,
Make
but
sure the tires have a warranty on them.
yeah. Well, it was funny.
The tires have.
I don't know if
warranty?
you remember this, but my Mustang's tires used to tread like really bad on the inside, and I didn't have anything wrong with my alignment. It was just like the shape of the wheel for the size of the car was just a little odd.
Like
So I was like,
cambered a little bit.
yeah. So I was like, just make sure you check. Like, obviously, like it's CarMax, so they like do a good job with the stuff. But just make sure you can see and like alignment's not messed up, all that stuff. And she's like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool."
Yeah, good.
That's like, yeah. My mom's Volvo has that same problem where that just flies through the tires, and it doesn't matter what you do as an owner. It's just that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like most of my Mustang was like the frame just wasn't built for that kind of car, really. I mean, it was a muscle car, and the tires were just, I think, too big for it. But yeah, other than that, hung out, didn't do too much. It was good.
All right. Before we get into like sports, and usually we start off with football, I just want to do some NHL news, just because it is short. But the NHL All-Star Game is coming up pretty soon, and the craziest thing happened last night. So the
Somebody
Philadelphia
took off their blade and stabbed someone with it.
No, so the Philadelphia Flyers, their mascot is named Gritty. And if you haven't seen Gritty, he's like a super creepy looking mascot.
I've seen him. Like,
kind of looks like a weird Chewbacca.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Like a Grimace Chewbacca.
yeah.
hybrid
No, I've
thing.
seen that. Yeah.
So last night, I guess like he's obviously known, like his name's Gritty, so he's obviously known for being kind of crazy and like with the fans and stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently he was trying to get through an area and he punched a 13-year-old boy in the back of the head and
Damn.
like knocked him down. So it's just like, all right, man, we get it. Your name's Gritty, but you're going a little bit too far.
Damn.
Is this guy under a lot of heat right now, I take it, or at least he should be.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
It was
That's
pretty crazy.
assault, brother.
It's assault, brother.
Yeah, he just does like crazy stuff.
Double dog day.
And then I just wanted to give a shout out to some of the Canucks players. They had 3 people make the All-Star game. They had Elias Pettersson making his second, and then Quinn Hughes and Jacob Markstrom making their first. So it was just, good representation from a young crew.
So that means we're around the halfway point for hockey, right?
Yeah, just about.
So who's looking like the team to beat?
It's still I'd say
Mighty
Washington's.
Ducks.
Washington's having a good season again. Toronto, even though they had a tough little postseason last year, they're still coming back and they're still kind of the favorites to win. But it's kind of the same names for the most part. The Canucks they're looking real good. When we talked a couple weeks ago, it was like they think they were like sitting 7th in the wild card, and right now they're sitting at 1st in the Pacific. So, they went on a little winning streak, got a bunch of points, and it was pretty nice. So, yeah, I'm excited for the postseason though. I'm excited for hockey just because I don't know, baseball. You kind of hit a slow spell right now, so
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. I know we complained a lot about the really slow off seasons in the past, where it took everybody forever to sign. But I'm kind of wishing that we'd go back to those days, so there was at least something to talk about.
like now, because now would be the time.
Now
So
it's
you'd
like-
always be anticipating
Yeah.
who's gonna go where. So yeah,
Yeah, what are the rumors that we're hearing? Who's meeting with whom? And
exactly.
yeah,
I mean, there's definitely no shortage to talk about in baseball right now, but
definitely, yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
obviously with the Astros and
Yeah.
what they got going
without
on there.
that going on, then you're probably right,
Then you're-
though.
yeah.
Well, I mean, some other baseball news, since we're probably not going to spend very much time on MLB today. That whole Nolan Arenado mess they got going on in
God.
Colorado.
Yeah, so lay this out for me, because he came out or whatever, made a statement, said he's staying put. or something like that?
No,
then...
so he came out and said that he feels mistreated. He feels like the organization as a whole has given him like mixed signals, and it sounds like he wants out. It's just funny because everybody in Colorado, like all the fan base, is like, get rid of the GM first. Like, don't. If he doesn't like the GM, then fire him.
Well, the thing is he signed like a massive deal in the offseason last year, and it's kind of like you're getting backstabbed essentially.
He's a Scott Boras 2 guy, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure,
No,
but you sign with a team for long term like that. You're assuming you're going to spend your time there, and then for them to kind of dangle you out there like, hey, we're going to trade you. We're fielding offers for Nolan Arenado, and you're like, well, I already said I was going to play here. I invested a lot of money into a new house or whatever his scenario is, but it's just, it feels like you're like you said,
I'm committing to you, but
I'm committing to you, but you're kind of backstabbing me, and you're dangling me out as like a trade bait piece. I understand the organization might want to go in a different direction, or I don't know, but
and I think like I get it from Colorado's standpoint because he has a clause in his contract where he can opt out after next season. So it's like if you're going to continue this downward slide, and if he wants to compete for a championship in the prime of his career, then I get it. But at the same time, it just sounds like there was a communication barrier in between where like when he signed his contract and what direction the team was going in.
Yeah.
So it's a bummer. I mean,
that's why they put those opt-outs in there.
Yeah.
Gives the player all the power when they sign these massive deals.
Yeah.
Machado's got it. Hosmer's got it.
Yeah.
And like if they feel like the team's not doing a good job by them, they can opt out and be like, hey, I'm gonna go take my shit elsewhere.
Well, either pay me more money or I'm gonna go play for another team that's gonna contend.
Yeah, and I mean, I like those kind of clauses in contracts because it's like it should kind of be up to the player.
And players don't have really any, say in their contract negotiations. I mean, they don't control the market, so it's really the only controlling asset that they have in their contract, other than how they perform.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you get hurt at the beginning of the year, it's not really your fault if you come back soft. So I feel like the opt out is definitely something that I should feel like available in most leagues.
It's like that LeBron James contract. He's doing the 1+1, or you get the 1 year contract and the player option. It was like, hey, I'm not going to sign a long term deal with you because if you guys start fucking up and not, I'm going to hold you guys accountable for putting a good team around me.
Well, it also comes down to the fact that the increase in salary.
Yeah.
With basketball, we saw it on a year-to-year basis where the salary was increasing. The cap space was increasing.
Well, their max contracts are based on a percentage of the salary cap, so it's going to go up regardless. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I mean, at least it allows them to renegotiate a deal with a team.
Yeah.
If with the guy Rendon, who just signed that massive deal with the Angels. Like, if Manny Machado was like, I'm better than him, like I should be making more money, I'll opt out. You can re-sign me if you want to, but
if
I need to be making more money than him.
Yeah.
So just thought I'd sprinkle some MLB in there for you.
Well, I mean, while we're on the subject, Derek Jeter, gets in the Hall of Fame. I don't really care that it wasn't unanimous.
Surprise.
It's just more or less like,
I really care that it wasn't unanimous.
I'm just like, the Writers Association, whoever these assholes are that vote on it, are just a bunch of idiots, and
it's so inconsistent.
Puritans, and it's just
it's inconsistent because you look for when they're voting in these players, it's all about the morals. The same reason that Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, all these guys haven't been inducted into the Hall of Fame. So you take a guy that's the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
And there's a few people out there that didn't vote for him. It's just
where's
one guy?
It's just one guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But where are you coming from with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the mentality of enough people were gonna vote him in, so I'm gonna give somebody else love. That's the only rational.
That's what I've been saying is wrong with the entire thing. I've said it for years. The problem with the voting system is guys are only allowed to send out a certain number of votes, and there's a lot of cases where one guy's not going to spend a vote on somebody,
bless you,
because they want to spend it on a different player, and
that's the
it
only
really
reason
limits the actual amount of talent that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But I was glad that Larry Walker got into. I feel like he was very deserving. Long career with the Rockies. I think it ups Todd Helton's chance to get in quicker. I was a little disappointed that we didn't see much of a transition with Clemens and Bonds.
Yeah, I agree.
I just feel like those guys need to get in. I know that's not a popular opinion with like a lot of the baseball writers out there, but at this point, and especially with this massive scandal that just happened with the Astros and the Red Sox, it's like, I mean, yeah, they were tied to it, but they were still some of the best players to ever play the game.
And like, who knows when they started? It's not like any of these guys had all of a sudden like a crazy jump in their career. Like Barry Bonds was good before he got fucking crazy.
Yeah, power numbers just increased a lot.
Exactly, but he was still a good hitter and a good ball player.
It had to be.
The only counter argument I could make is you're setting a precedent that's okay to cheat, and that's the only reason why I'm like, I understand why you guys aren't voting him in. And me personally, I agree with what you guys are saying. I think these guys are. Yeah, they're great talents, and
I also just don't think that like the steroid aspect of baseball affected the game the way that people like truly think that it did.
I don't either, because it's like
you still have to put bat on ball.
That's my
argument.
Well,
and their batting averages were good still.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't change anything.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is just like you still have to hit the ball.
And like Barry Bonds hit 750 plus home runs over his career.
Yeah.
And like how many of those seasons was he juiced?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it takes even if you are juiced and you hit 700 plus home runs, you deserve it.
Pretty
like
impressive.
Yeah, like even if you cut that number in half, that's still a really good number.
Everybody was doing it. The only people that we hear about were the people that were good, but everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
There's Joe Schmo down in AA who's juicing it up.
There's probably Ruben Rivera's probably in that mix too. Fucking bum.
And they sucked. They weren't good baseball players. So it's like it was. They were part of the majority in baseball.
Take the world's strongest man and you give him like, you know what I mean, as many pitches as he wants.
For sure.
There's no way he's hitting, you know what I mean? He might get a hold of one.
Yeah. It's just all the older people that are, baseball needs to be this select fraternity.
They're not going anywhere soon is the only bummer, and it's their time's running out. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
But once those guys retire, then you're going to start seeing these guys go in, because I feel like the younger population or whatever agrees with
analytics driven people are like, okay.
Like, let them in, whatever. I feel like these guys are talented, this and this. And
well, speaking on the whole cheating aspect of baseball, who do you guys think is going to be the next head coach of the Astros? Like, do you think that that's a desirable position in any way, or is it more or less like this looming cloud over an organization? You're
it's
like, well,
definitely
I guess
a desirable position based off of the team and what they can produce on the baseball field.
Yeah.
As far as the Astros, I mean, they took 10 steps back. The Astros were irrelevant for 2 decades. As a popularity, like you lost popularity throughout all of baseball. At least 50% of the fans don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. Home games will be great.
The number's a lot higher than that.
I think. Well, they did a poll. It was like 56% think
really?
That the Astros punishment should have been more harsh.
Yeah.
But like I said,
that was just LA.
Yeah, right. I know. Seriously.
I saw there's people starting a petition to get LA to get both those titles.
It's so stupid.
I'm like,
it's like honestly,
you wouldn't even want it as a Dodger, or at least I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, this guy at my work is a Dodgers fan. I was talking to him about it, and he was just like, he goes, I don't want that because, one, who's to say that the other teams, like the American League, still wouldn't have won? And then two, it's like I already had to live through the loss one time. Don't make me relive it again by giving me a pity,
pity trophy.
Everybody that's been bringing up that argument, it's just stupid.
Yeah,
like I'm not saying they're stupid, but it's just a stupid argument.
It is.
Like you can't just go, oh, give me your World Series ring back, and you have to go hand it over to Jock Peterson.
Yeah, and not only that, like if you're a Dodger fan or one of the players or anyone in that organization, you're like, dude, this doesn't mean anything to me. Like, you live for that experience of winning it and cheering on the field and like popping the champagne and doing all that fun stuff. The parade, like that's a part of the experience. It's not just a matter of getting a ring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is like your girlfriend cheats on you, right? It's like
I hope not. No, okay.
No, but like
hypothetical scenario.
Hypothetically, your girlfriend cheats on you, and it's like, oh, you know what? I love you so much. Like I want to get married. I made a mistake. Blah blah blah. It's like, I don't care about where we're going.
Yeah.
I care about the fact that you cheated on me.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get over that. Really hard.
Yeah.
Like and that's what people are like. You think that just handing over a ring or like handing over a trophy to a team that didn't win it, like no. The issue is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to fix anything.
The only thing that'll change is the history books.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. People that go back and they're like, oh, they won this year? And it's like, well, no.
I stand by the fact that players need to get suspended, though.
I do too.
I agree on that.
Yeah, I love the fact that there's like all these pitchers and stuff that are petitioning that their stats be removed against the Astros. So I'm like, that's such a great point. Like,
that's what I was saying when we were here last week. Or the week before.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week. Yeah,
all the players that like lost out on this money that they could have gained based off of the inflation.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast with Trevor Bauer on it, and he was like, it sucks because let's say you have a, like the right fielder on the Astros. He's having an amazing year because he knows what's coming. And another guy on another team that's in right field, he's having a decent year. Those two guys, their paychecks are going to be massively different. The guy that's cheating is going to have a way better contract. And then if he goes somewhere else and, slumps, well, he still got paid. This other guy has to keep working to get his money.
Yeah. And Brandon mentioned it. The ripple effect, it's...
The ripple effect is huge, massive.
Well, I think of like a guy like Darvish. Darvish got shelled in that World Series.
Dude.
Remember that game, Game 7?
I think that dude was in therapy because of it.
Yeah,
he was.
That guy thought he was tipping his pitches, and he wasn't. It was just because, we think he wasn't for sure tipping him, but more than likely, they were cheating in that game.
I mean, friggin' playoff Kershaw started with the Astros. You know what I mean? How no one trusts that guy in the playoff. I mean, granted, he still had some bad starts, but even still, it's like...
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe we're not looking at a Kershaw that didn't have a playoff win for however many attempts.
And who knows how much that affected him.
Absolutely.
Not being able to perform in the playoffs.
I'm going to stand by it, and I'm going to keep talking about it every single week until something changes, but it's not enough.
No, I agree. It's not enough, but...
It's not enough.
At the same time... It's never going to be enough.
Yeah, draft picks don't mean shit in baseball anymore.
Especially they mean a little bit, but not as much.
Not coming from the Astros.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more or less like trade pieces. They have more value in that sense. Or
you can't trade them.
You don't trade draft picks. But I meant
like
future.
Yeah.
No,
I mean their farm system, building up.
But still, with
kind of
international stock being as high as it is with all these players now, it's not something that if you miss on your 30th pick in the draft, I mean, you're still the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
It's not like you have a top 5 pick and you got to pick the right dude out of this talent pool. It's like, all right, well, there's really not going to be much of a talent difference between our first and second round pick, just like there's not a big difference between their third round pick and their second. So
it doesn't impact them as much immediately. It's something that you feel down the line.
Yeah.
And if you were to strip them of all their draft picks for the next 2 years, that still probably wouldn't be enough. But even at this,
if you think about it, what if they were to trade like Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa for prospects equal to those picks? Yeah. Then they're in the same boat. They're like, all right, well, we're fine. We're good. And that's what I mean by the draft pick aspect of it. That part of the punishment is nothing.
I wonder if the value of those players is decreased too, because I would look at them and I'm like, well, how much of these numbers are actually how good of a hitter they are, and how much of those are they already know the pitch coming and they're good at sitting on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
So you're gonna learn today.
So you look at how good Altuve's numbers and George Springer and all these other guys on that team.
We're gonna find out this year. I mean,
yeah, no, for sure. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing is how good they're gonna do going forward. And what's one of the things that's a little bit of a bummer is teams like the Padres. We've kind of molded our team after the Astros essentially, where that was our footprint, and some of our smaller market teams. Now I don't know if that's gonna kill some of.
We're gonna bounce back.
Glimmer of hope. We're like, hey, if the Astros can do it, we can do it.
Hey, man, the Nationals won.
Yeah, the Nationals had. Yeah, it took them a long time, and they were the shittiest team for a lot longer.
Well, they got Strasburg and Harper in back-to-back years.
Yeah, so they bottomed out better than we've never bottomed out all the way. So the third worst record is the closest we've gotten to bottoming out, and that was for Gore.
Yep. Yeah, well, we'll see. Baseball's coming up, knocking on the door here. Pitchers are going to be reporting soon. Really excited.
Yep.
let's get into some NFL. The Giants hired Jason Garrett, the former Dallas Cowboys head coach, as their offensive coordinator. We talked a little bit about it in the previous podcast. Are you guys a fan of the hire?
I mean,
I should rephrase my question because we kind of already touched on that. Do you think that the Giants can have a more successful run than what they had with Eli Manning in the last decade, with Daniel Jones, now Jason Garrett, and Saquon Barkley?
I think that this is more or less like it's going to be a too many cooks in one kitchen type situation. It's just, who knows what Joe Judge's philosophy is. And, I mean, we know Jason Garrett's, and we know, him being like a puppet. That's what we've always kind of said. But even like just his philosophy of being like a team coach, not really a player coach type thing. So who knows how him and Joe Judge interact? Who knows how much, Reigns Judge wants on the offense? You know what I mean? He was a special teams guy, so who knows? Maybe he'll try to transition into like a more offensive based role. But I think I still think it's like an interesting hire in the fact of it was like a safety blanket.
Yeah. Brandon?
I mean, I feel like it's always good to, certainly like as you were just alluding to a second ago, have that, that guy who's got that experience as a head coach who can kind of lend a hand to the, the new rookie, I guess, head coach who's going to be stepping in, trying to learn how to, run an organization. It's always good to have a guy who, certainly has that experience.
So the year is 2023. The Giants have gone to the playoffs once in 4 seasons, finished with a less than 500 record. Is Jason Garrett the next coach of the Giants? Head coach?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
I think that's kind of,
I think that's exactly why he's there.
That's exactly.
As shitty as it sounds, I think that is literally why he's there.
Yeah.
I think that this division, we've talked about it being a bad division. It's competitive. It's just like the AFC West. Every single year, where obviously the Chiefs have been, the top team for the last 3 or 4 years, but constantly in rotation. Teams are always competitive, knocking each other off. The Redskins, they get their quarterback this year, just like the Giants. They go out and get Ron Rivera. They seem like they have a more complete roster than the Giants. And you're, out there competing against Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and then the Eagles, who have won the division as well. So I think that this hire was put in place for Jason Garrett to take over eventually.
That's exactly what I mean by, like, it's the safety
blanket. And even if he's not the, like, actual head coach, he's going to be an interim coach eventually when, shit hits the fan with Judge.
Yeah, it's like we said it, a couple podcasts ago where the teams keep looking like they were looking for the McVay, then they're looking for this. Now it's like, well, let me just try to find
copycat league,
the needle in the haystack. Let's see if Joe Judge works out.
And when shit hits the fan, you give it to the coordinator.
Yeah.
Joe Judge, it's just a horrible name.
It's so
While we're on the topic,
it reminds me of Joe Schmo. That's what it reminds me of.
Right. While we're on the topic of the Giants, Eli Manning officially announcing his retirement this Friday. Great career. I mean, I think he finished exactly with 117 wins and 117 losses.
Yep.
2 Super Bowl championships. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer in your eyes?
I think he is just, the 2 Super Bowls and the name.
I
think
agree.
The name Manning,
Yeah.
just hold. That gives you an extra couple votes.
And statistically speaking, he had several years where he was in the top 5 passing yards and passing touchdowns, quarterback efficiency.
Yeah, all those make sense, but still, it's like when you finish your career at 500, like that's not really.
No,
that's not a Hall of Fame.
He won the Super Bowl on a team that went 9-7. So he's 8-8. I don't know.
He's without a doubt not a slam dunk, Hall of Fame pick, but I certainly think, he's done enough to merit in the big, showtime.
If he's not getting in, who's getting in?
Yeah, how many guys in NFL history have 2 Super Bowl MVPs? You know,
yeah,
and I feel like that alone is, we talk about how like certain guys, if they've done really well in one aspect of the game, they're deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. Devin Hester is like a return guy, that sort of thing. I think you can make the same argument for a guy who's done well in one specific game that's the most important game in football.
Well, he
the
had
Super Bowl.
200 and something consecutive starts. He was, I think,
It's like an Iron
third.
Man.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
I think just
the pure consistency of
and like you said, he's a Manning. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. As much as it pains most San Diego people to say, like Eli Manning, he didn't want to play for the Chargers. Probably the best decision him and his family ever made.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks to say, but at the same time.
No, absolutely.
It was kind of true.
No, and I mean.
It's nice, though, for him to be out of the league because I was such an anti-New York Giants fan, like, because of that. Like, I was always holding a grudge against them.
Yeah.
Now that they have Saquon and, like, I think Darius Slayton's a great wide receiver. I think it's like
Darius Slayton.
Isn't that their wide receiver?
He's one of their receivers. He's
like-
decent. He's not
But
great, but
wasn't it his rookie year this year?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he's like
he
a
looked,
good
he had
rookie
he showed
wide
some
receiver.
showed
Like,
some good chemistry with
Yeah.
what's his name?
not Drew Lock.
Dan Jones.
Daniel Jones, yeah.
740 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. I literally had no idea who you were talking about.
Yeah,
I
no,
just-
he
yeah.
he
It
lit
just-
up. Who
You
was
pick
it,
him up on
Dallas
fantasy? Is that
or
what it was?
No, I didn't.
no?
Yeah,
He
I
like
got
lit
beaten.
up Dallas at the end of the season. I think he.
Yeah.
No, Dallas ended up winning that game, or no, it was the Eagles, and that was the game I lost in fantasy.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, there it
You
is.
know?
No, but it's like they have young talent that I want to cheer for now.
They're a couple
because
pieces
it's like
away.
fantasy implications too.
Yeah. They're a couple pieces away. I mean, they definitely, like I said a couple times, rebuild from the inside out. It is going to be nice to finally not have that controversy of, okay, well, we have our rookie quarterback. Like, what about Eli Manning? Kind of just getting that distraction off the books. Good for the Giants. And, I mean,
They got a year of mentorship out of him
absolutely.
too.
And for Eli Manning, I think that, if you look at his career as a whole, like, nobody wants to see you get into this situation. Kind of like Jay Cutler, where it's like they literally have to, like, pull you off the field because you're playing that poorly.
Yeah.
And, like, Jay Cutler was a good quarterback for many years. Did a lot of dumb stuff, let his team down in the playoffs, but he was a good quarterback. Great statistical quarterback. Not somebody you're going to talk about for the Hall of Fame, though. So
The beauty behind his retirement too is last year we were seeing essentially what you were talking about when Eli Manning was just throwing picks left and right, and that was back when Odell was on the team and he couldn't throw the ball past like 20 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
And I felt like this year he kind of was able to sit back, let Daniel Jones do well, and then he stepped in towards the end, had that good brief stint for a game or two, and it kind of like improved like the public opinion of him.
Absolutely.
Reminded us of
Yeah.
what he can
You
do.
know.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, too, it makes you respect people like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, all these guys that are playing so late in their 30s and 40s, because you haven't seen that drastic decline like you did with Eli Manning. The other part of it is they just didn't give him a good surrounding cast.
Yeah.
They shipped off his best weapon. They were clearly trying to rebuild around a quarterback who was in his mid-30s. And I feel like if he was on another team, if you put him on the Colts, we're not having the same conversation. Like,
I agree, yeah.
Eli Manning is going to be able to do a couple more years of decent football. But, I mean, with the wear and tear, the hits that this dude took constantly throughout his career, I mean, the confidence alone is just down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's a great time for him to retire. You know what I mean? It's like this could have been Tom Brady's year. This could have been Phillip Rivers' year to retire, but it's like they're going to continue to play. It's like his way of shining, being like,
It's
I'm
breaking,
the one taking
it's breaking news versus an undernote on ESPN.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Besides, like,
Big
a
Ben's
side note.
still going to be playing too. Remember, and he's
For the love of God.
still going to be
Dude, that guy
on the docket for retirement in the next couple of years.
I have a feeling literally we're going to see him go from quarterback one year to quarterback's coach the next year on the Steelers. Like, he's just going to be like, I'm still on the team, but I just don't wear the pads anymore.
Be like A-Rod, he's like sitting up in the booth, but they're still paying him.
Exactly. Like, that's
Damn.
the only, he's just like, I just wear the headset now.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some NFC and AFC championship games.
Yeah, man.
First on the docket, we had the Titans and the Chiefs. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week. You know, I said the Titans were going to win. I didn't bet on the Titans winning, but you know, I had a little feeling, and they started off this game really well. You know, they got up 10 points, tried to play the ball control game, and the Chiefs just shut the run game down.
Well, I think like we talked about it in the regular seasons, the Titans finished games really well. You know, they kind of started slow. In the playoffs, they did the opposite. They like figured out how to start fast, hit them hard. But like you said, like the Chiefs just scored too quickly. They move the ball so quickly. They have so much speed, so many different weapons. Like
their
it's hard.
offensive power is really. I don't know if there's a team in the league that can match them.
Well, I mean, we'll see though.
The other thing too, the Titans did not play aggressive enough. If you're going to go into Arrowhead and you're going to take down the Chiefs, you need to be aggressive. And we saw that aggression against many teams this year. And you just didn't see it in this game. They were playing more conservative. They were trying to play the ball control game, which is fine because that's been working for them. But 10 points against the Chiefs, I mean, we saw the week before, 24-0. You know,
turn it around quick.
Like that, dude. Snap of the finger. It's done.
And they got a great head coach.
And I think they tried to rely on Derrick Henry too much. Yes, he was your answer getting there, but at the same time, you have to make adjustments. And it just seemed like they weren't willing to let Ryan Tannehill take a chance, or they weren't. I thought play action in this game would have changed everything for them.
No, absolutely. And I think that with the Titans, you know, we talked about it with the Ravens in the previous week, how they're not far off. They need a couple weapons. I think this situation just shows that Tannehill's not the answer. And it's not because he's a bad quarterback. If we're talking about Ryan Tannehill on the Dolphins, if we're talking about him on the Raiders or the Broncos, you know, he's a good quarterback. You re-sign the guy, you let him play it out. But the Titans are so close to being a team similar to the Ravens, or maybe not quite the Ravens type offense, but or even like a Patriots style offense. You know, they're efficient. You know, but you need somebody that can, you know, move the ball down the field. You need somebody that you have confidence in when the game is on the line, or when you need a big play to put the ball in their hands. Yeah,
and I don't know if that's so much of like Tannehill's fault or just the play callers not giving him the opportunity. It's a
little bit of both. I don't think that
because it's like in the times that he did pass the ball, it was clearly passing downs, you know, that kind of thing where it's like everybody's sitting in coverage this time. When they're running the ball, it's clearly they're running the ball, so it's like it was almost like they could call the plays out before they even snap the ball, you know, and it was just...
My only issue is that it reminds me a lot of Kellen Clemens the year he was with the Vikings. Kellen Clemens is a okay quarterback. He was on a really good team.
Yeah, that's
Ryan Tannehill, he's a good quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback by any stretch. But the Titans have the potential to be a Super Bowl contending team. And I think in order for you to get that step up, you need an upgrade. Now, I'm not saying you don't re-sign Ryan Tannehill and that you go out and try to draft a quarterback. That's not what I'm saying at all. Yeah. But the long-term effects of the short term, the Derrick Henry aspect, the rookie wide receivers that you have, it's worth taking a look to see who you think gives you that upper hand.
Yeah, and I also think it's just like you need to change up play calling.
Yeah,
I felt like they were just too one-dimensional. That's I don't know, because I don't know, Ryan Tannehill, like, he can make space with his feet, like he's a quick guy. Maybe some of his reads aren't the best, but at the same time, it's just...
And that's... I think what I'm trying to say is it's the lack of trust in him.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, that's where I feel too. And it's not like... You're saying like lack of trust, maybe move on to somebody that you can build around or trust.
That's what I mean.
Give him put more faith in him.
My only thing is that you don't have an offensive core. Like, if you have Patrick Mahomes on your team, and I'm not saying like you got to go out and find the next Patrick Mahomes, but you have Patrick Mahomes on your team, you have all the confidence in the world in his ability to make plays during a game.
Yeah, but now put Derrick Henry on the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. Like, are you still letting Patrick Mahomes run the same offense, or are you trying to get the ball into Derrick Henry's hands?
Yeah, you utilize your weapons. You use both.
And that's the thing I'm saying. I feel like they didn't utilize both.
Yeah, but to kind of like put the little topping on the cake for mine, I just don't think that the trust is there because I don't think the skill set is there.
Okay.
Again, because I'm not saying bad. I'm saying like, top 15 quarterback.
Okay.
In order to get you over that edge, I mean, they beat the Ravens. Ryan Tannehill was a factor in that. I mean, he didn't throw very many passes, but he was still a factor in that. He got you into that situation. But it's more of a game manager. And that's exactly what you had with Marcus Mariota.
I get what
You
you're
know,
saying.
if you want to utilize Derrick Henry, you still need somebody that can extend plays, that can have that it factor down the field.
Yeah.
I think they played over their heads essentially going to the playoffs too. Like, I know they're a good team, as every team that's in the playoffs is a good team, but I think the Ravens are a much better team than them, and they lost to them. You know, shit happens. You know, and they ended up going against the Chiefs, and it was like,
Chiefs were a better team.
Yeah, can you repeat this? And they weren't able to, because it's hard to repeat beating good teams that frequently when you're just, you know, a moderately good team, you know, and the
Especially
Chiefs are
on
a
the
great
road,
team,
you know,
and
it's
so
their
are the
third-
Ravens. So it's like,
One thing about like the play calling with like Ryan Tannehill, or no, that was Josh Allen catching that pass. Never mind. But you know, the trick plays when they throw Marcus Mariota out there to run the ball. The trick plays that they throw to have like Derrick Henry throw the ball.
threw it, yeah.
So it's like, you know, if that's how you're gonna like get momentum, it'd be nice to have somebody that you trust in the quarterback position to be able to do the same thing. So and maybe we will see an offseason of Ryan Tannehill being the quarterback. Maybe they just decided to, hey, you know, you came in late in the year. We're just gonna keep going with what we have. And I mean, you got to the AFC Championship game. You're not changing your quarterback. You're going to do everything you can to keep this dude.
Yeah.
But in the offseason, get some more trust back with him. Let this dude play his game.
Build around his skill set.
And if he's not your guy, then you move on.
I agree. Totally agree.
But the Chiefs side of the ball, man, I mean, they're an exciting offense to watch. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he did it with his feet. He did it with his arm. Their defense played
That's
phenomenal.
the other thing that was exciting for me was just like their defense. Literally, the one thing that everyone was saying, can you stop the run? And they stopped the run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got to give Tyrann Mathieu like huge props.
I said last week,
That
man, 5'9"
dude-
going up against a refrigerator. I don't think it's going to happen. It happened.
It happened,
Yeah.
dude. That guy was flying around the ball everywhere. He
Yeah.
was in every big play, every big stop, and it was just
He was hungry because
Yeah, man.
all those
he was-
years with the Cardinals, and the guy earned it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
And he was
happy for
playing-
him.
Phenomenal talent. He plays all over the field. And, you know, I said the Swiss Army knife, you got to be able to use him, and he was effective.
yeah.
Um,
And he was exciting to watch because it was like every big play was like him acknowledging like this is our next step to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like every play was like we took another step forward. We took another step forward, and it was just like it was exciting to watch him be
Yeah.
excited
Absolutely.
about being effective.
Absolutely. And then shout out to Damian Williams, running back from the Chiefs. He's a San Diego guy, Mira Mesa High School. So it's pretty awesome to see. Mira Mesa or Scripps Ranch, I can't remember. But
Still a local boy getting
local
it,
guy.
going to the Super Bowl.
He was a Kearney Comet dude. Nice to see them, you know,
Yeah.
getting some love. But on to the next game. We had the 49ers versus the Packers.
That was a
This-
horrible game, right?
I mean, it started off horrible. It was just like the Packers couldn't get anything going. They had no answer to that offense. After that, I mean, it was what 27-0 going in the half.
Yeah, something like that.
24-0, whatever it was. Just 0 points going in the half. I mean, it kind of seemed like they were making adjustments in the second half, but even still, it was just too late at that point.
And we talked about it last week, how, you know, a calm, cool Aaron Rodgers, you know, him having the ability to, you know, lean on the run a little bit. He was too calm.
It was almost like
Lethargic.
and it's like it makes me wonder how much, you know, of the crap that we heard with him and Mike McCarthy of like it's McCarthy's fault, we got to side with Rodgers kind of thing, of how much it was really Aaron Rodgers' fault for just not being a fighter in a way. Like it just seemed like
There was no life in that offense, man. They had nothing, and he played terribly.
and it's just more or less like is Aaron Rodgers done? Like does he not want to play anymore? Because that's what it looked like, and it's kind of like what it's been looking like.
If he did, I wouldn't fault him.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a phenomenal quarterback. I still think that, you know, when he's at his best, he's the best quarterback in the National Football League. He took a serious step back with this game. When you have an opportunity to get to a Super Bowl and you're not making adjustments at the line of scrimmage and you're kind of just taking it as the plays are going, it's not a great look. And I don't know how much control he has over that offense anymore, but it wasn't the same Aaron Rodgers that we've seen in the past, down by a couple scores, trying to make something happen. It seemed like he was pressing a lot, trying to move the ball down the field into situations that he shouldn't have. He had a fumble, he had an interception in the first half.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
Really wasn't a good look.
But I talked about it last week how, the run game for the Packers wasn't going to be a factor because the defense was just too good. On the other side of the ball, they ran all over the Packers.
Dude, they ran the ball like 19 times in a row at one point.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
They controlled the trenches, and that's what they've been doing all year.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? How do I say his name? Raheem Mostert. He was cut by like 6 other teams, and then he goes out and rushed for 200 yards in the NFC Championship game.
Like 3 touchdowns or whatever.
4.
Did he have 4?
He had 4 touchdowns.
Jesus.
Yeah, they had a freaking game, man.
I definitely think you're going to see a copycat league going forward. Teams are going to be rotating their running backs and their defensive line a lot more frequently to keep guys fresh on the field.
They ran the ball 42 times for 285 yards. They averaged 6.8 yards a carry.
And the fullback's going to be back in vogue too.
They threw the ball 8 times.
That's ridiculous. That's just like
the worst part about this, if you're looking at the Chiefs game planning for the 49ers, the last 2 weeks, you haven't had to see much game film.
No.
Like
they've kind of been doing the same thing.
They've been doing the same thing. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't had to do much. They've been running all over everybody. And this is a team that we saw that had the ability to win a shootout with the Saints. So what do? Do you plan against the run? Do you plan against the pass? Like, how are you preparing for this game?
I would rather playing against the run if I'm a defensive coordinator, though, for sure.
Absolutely.
Because
you have to. They ran.
They ran
literally 43 times last game.
That team runs the ball better than any other team in the league, and that's just a fact.
Yeah. They have a beefy offensive line. Brandon just said it. They have an amazing fullback. They have 3 different running backs. I know Tevin Coleman went out in the game. I'm not sure if he's going to be out for the Super Bowl or not.
But even still, it's
honestly, new body.
Yeah.
You just need a guy who can. All their guys are essentially hammers too.
That game was won in the trenches on both sides of the ball. The front 4, the front 7 for both the offense and the defensive side of the ball dominated the Packers.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
And that's stressful if you're the Chiefs because that's a lot to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it'll be interesting to see like how effective the Chiefs will be because they're so good at moving the ball quickly. Is when you're changing out these defensive linemen that are speedy and big and strong like the 49ers have, it's how effective are you going to be when it's 3rd and long, 2nd and long, that kind of thing. It's like you can't move the ball as easily as you've been doing.
Absolutely. And the 49ers are going to have the ability to put pressure on anybody they play against.
Yeah. I will say I feel like State Farm is the biggest loser in this game because could you imagine the commercials that they would have had with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers?
They would have loved this.
Dude, that would have been the whole freaking – that would have been everything.
State Farm spends so much money on advertisement. It's insane.
Dude, but that would have been their
Absolutely.
Euphoria.
It's like this is the campaign of all campaigns.
Exactly.
Like oh yeah, we'll pay for a freaking Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
We'll pay for several.
We're just gonna do all of the lead
You know
up.
what? We're gonna work out a deal with I don't even know who the TV provider is, CBS or whoever it is. So we're gonna work out a deal with CBS and we're gonna buy out all the commercial time. We're just going to do a movie about Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes and
they would have been like, we're just going to take a page out of the college playoff book real quick, and we're going to call this the Super Bowl sponsored by State Farm. Yeah. That's where it's going to be the State Farm Bowl.
State Farm Bowl.
Yeah.
Was it like the, Chick-fil-A Bowl?
Exactly.
Yeah, like, this is the State Farm Super Bowl.
State Farm Super Bowl. That's what we got going on.
Yeah, man. Well, Super Bowl Sunday's coming up in a couple weeks. Before we, I think we're going to save most of our assessing of the game for next week. Who's your pick, though?
I got to go 49ers.
49ers?
I'm doing Chiefs.
Chiefs? I'm picking the 49ers, too. Like I said, we'll listen in next week. We're going to be going over our predictions a little bit more in detail. It's going to be an exciting game, though. Best offense against the best defense. It's interesting to see the matchups that we can have when the Patriots aren't in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm excited that Patrick Mahomes finally made it. I'm tired of these quarterbacks that, I mean, not from their perspective, but how we, glorify quarterbacks based off of the fact if they won a Super Bowl, talking about how Cam Newton's not a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback. Just because he hasn't won a Super Bowl doesn't mean he's not. Phillip Rivers, he's a great quarterback. So
it's a team sport. There's 52 guys.
Absolutely.
53 or 52? 53 guys on a roster. Obviously certain positions are more important than others, but yeah.
But I'm happy that he's there, in such a short amount of time. It's good for football. I mean, seeing him on the big stage is going to be excellent for the sport.
Yeah. Are you guys going to watch the Pro Bowl at all?
No.
No, not even close.
So
I will say this. I want to comment on Andy Reid, his cheeseburger comment.
Oh yeah, after the win.
God,
that was pretty funny.
That's a guy who has no shame living in his own skin, where he's like, hey, screw it, I'm a fat guy. Yeah, I celebrated by eating a cheeseburger and going to bed.
Well, and then they were saying, like, during an interview or something like that, they're asking him like how he's preparing for like Miami and that kind of stuff, and he goes, "I just hope they let me coach in shorts."
Yeah,
because he's like, I'm gonna get hot.
Dude, Andy Reid he's a man. He's the man.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I forgot to say is that I'm really happy that Andy Reid's going to get another opportunity. I feel like he's such an underappreciated head coach. Everything he did with the Eagles, now that he's done with the Chiefs, I mean,
poor guy too. I think it's like his son died, or I can't remember. I think his son committed suicide or something like that.
Yeah.
And you just, it's always good to. When a guy gets a Super Bowl or something good happens to somebody who's had some unfortunate things happen to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to bring up the Pro Bowl because did you hear about the new rule that they're trying to implement?
The onside kick one?
Kick thing?
Yeah.
That sounds so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
So basically, like if a team, if let's say the AFC scores a touchdown, they can either elect to kick the ball off or start at their own 25, and it's basically a 4th and 15. If they get it, they get to keep the ball and keep going. Like, that's so...
Yeah, I'm not into it.
Like, especially in the Pro Bowl, like, guys don't really tackle. You're going to see... You could literally see one team...
Yeah, the Pro Bowl's not a time to be experimenting. Just wait for preseason.
You could see one team have the ball the entire game.
Look at baseball. They're going to be... The robo-umps are coming in spring training. You saw that?
Yeah.
So... Yeah, it's interesting to see how each sport does it. They do it differently. It looks like the NFL's trying to, during the Pro Bowl, not Padres, baseball does it during spring training, and NBA kind of does it for their like G League team. So every team does it differently.
I will say I do like the skills competition of the Pro Bowl. I think that's fun. They're like, those are like,
it was cool for a while, but now it's like these athletes are just like, it's more nonchalant now.
Yeah. But it's still,
big showboaters, and you already see a lot of this stuff anyways. It's not like you need a skills contest.
Honestly, I think that's what it is. It's Instagram and like Facebook now. Like you see like all of this stuff highlighted everywhere that it's like, meh.
I've seen it already.
Yeah.
I watch Hard Knocks. I've seen DeAndre Hopkins make an insane catch in the end zone.
Yeah.
That did not look humanly possible, but somehow he did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, before we end up closing out, I was just going to go over some NFL draft stuff with you guys coming up at the end of April. It's, there's some rumblings going around that the Dolphins have zeroed in on Joe Burrow, and obviously they do not hold the number 1 overall pick in the draft. They do, however, own 3 first-round draft picks in this draft, and 2 first-round draft picks in next year's.
Sorry, who was that?
The Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
The Dolphins. So they have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years. If you're the Bengals, are you buying or selling your first-round draft pick? Like, are you getting rid of it for, are you basically robbing the freaking Dolphins of all their draft picks?
So
if they want him, if the Dolphins want him, if they're willing to give up 3 first-round draft picks for Joe Burrow, are you taking it?
I am, for one reason. I don't think that the Bengals are going to be any better next season. I could see them also, if they don't add certain pieces, especially a quarterback, like somebody that can change their offense and get the ball moving. I could see them getting a number 1 pick again next year, and Trevor Lawrence is going to be sitting there. So that's the reason I would be selling.
I would do the same. Honestly, that's a massive haul. That's honestly a game changer for a franchise. All they had to do was,
I think 2 first rounds by alone.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, 2 it'd be tough. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
3, it's a slam dunk in my opinion.
Yeah.
2, it's like, well, do I really believe this guy's going to be the franchise guy going forward? And if so, I probably wouldn't give up 2. I wouldn't trade him for 2 first rounders.
This is my thing, though. The Dolphins, if you get the Dolphins pick this year and the Dolphins pick, so not the pick that they traded for, but their actual pick, there's a potential chance that you'll have, like you said, 2 top 5 draft picks next year.
Yeah.
And I think that alone, I mean, if you're getting 3 draft picks, maybe you're going to have a 5 and a 15 and a 26 or something like that. Yeah, that's fine. Like that's still 3 first-round draft picks.
Yeah. They can still change your organization.
Yeah. My whole thing, though, is that we're not talking about Andrew Luck. Like, we're not talking about, who's the other dude that came out? Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about a physical specimen or, like, the smartest quarterback that you've ever seen. We're talking about a statistically driven quarterback that played on the best college football team in the nation. I mean, this is a no-brainer for me.
But, I mean, also there's something in the fact that it's like he beat, 7 of the top 10 teams? Like, ranked in college football.
Yeah, I feel like he's proven himself.
Like, that's huge. That's like massive competition. That sets you up a lot better than a lot of these quarterbacks coming out of college.
But they had the best team. Like, I'm not saying that Joe Burrow's a bad quarterback. I'm not saying Joe Burrow's going to have a bad career.
You would take him at number 1, though, right? No?
If it's me, if I'm picking first overall in the draft, I'm taking Chase Young, without a doubt. If I'm the GM of any organization, I'm taking Chase Young.
Yeah.
But if I'm picking a quarterback, I'm picking Tua Tagovailoa. I know the injury issues are there, but with the way that the NFL is changing, he fits the mold. He's exactly what you need. With Joe Burrow, LSU has had a top 3 recruiting class over the last 3 or 4 years. They have, I think, 10 or 15 of the top 50 prospects going into the NFL draft this year. It's hard to say. Like, Joe Burrow didn't beat out the not JT Barrett, not Cardell Jones, Dwayne Haskins. He didn't beat out Dwayne Haskins. This is a dude that was at Ohio State who didn't win the job, and then good quarterback still. Goes to LSU, who has always needed a quarterback, a team that has always missed based off the fact they didn't have a quarterback. So I don't know how good he is. Tua Tagovailoa, he showed how good he plays in the fourth quarter. He shows how well he plays when he doesn't have a lead. We saw what he did against Georgia when he won a national championship.
Yeah.
I think that Tua is a better quarterback overall.
I mean, like, with your point of couldn't beat out Dwayne Haskins, I mean, still that's Dwayne Haskins coming back for his second year, his sophomore year, and Joe Burrow going in freshman year. It's like...
No, he's older.
But wasn't that his...
It was his junior year. He was a redshirt senior this year.
Oh, okay.
So Dwayne Haskins was 2 years behind him.
So, wait, Joe Burrow was starting at Alabama before?
No, he was at Ohio State.
Or at Ohio State.
He never started. No, so he did. He sat behind Cardell Jones and Dwayne Haskins, probably JT Barrett at some point too. So he didn't win the job 3 times from quarterbacks that went to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good point, but at the same time, I think it has to hold some kind of weight that he beat,
Oh yeah,
really talented football teams.
Absolutely.
And he was able to, figure out incredible defenses. So
yeah, and I think
but I get your point with he is more of a traditional pocket passer, and like you said, the way the NFL is changing, you kind of need someone that can extend plays.
Absolutely, and like I said, if I'm a GM, I'm taking the 3 first-round draft picks. I'm not 100% sold on Joe Burrow at the moment. I'm not saying he's not going to have a good career. I hope he does. But exactly like you said, there's several quarterbacks coming out next year that I would much rather have.
That's my thing. Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's no question that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a phenomenal NFL quarterback. I think there's no question that Justin Fields is going to garner a lot of attention going into the NFL draft with somebody with a lot of potential. I mean, when they were coming out of high school, they were 1 and 2 for the best football players in the nation, not just quarterbacks, but as football players. So there's definitely that thought process as well, and that's another reason why if I'm a GM, I'm taking Chase Young.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Chase Young he's better than both Joey and Nick Bosa, who we've seen what Nick Bosa can do in the NFL. But it's going to be interesting. I thought it was an interesting take. If I'm the Bengals, I'm definitely listening to an offer from the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'd probably side more with Brandon that if they're offering me 2, I'm not taking it. But if they have the ability to get 3 first-round draft picks, like I'm saying, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully he has a successful year with the Dolphins in.
Yeah.
I mean,
he probably would do better in the Dolphins.
And that's the whole thing that it really boils down to when it comes to the NFL draft. Is that your guy? That's why they do all these homework on him.
Yeah.
You know, they want to make sure that the guy that they're getting
fits their system.
He's a quarterback that they see as for the future. That he's a guy that, you know, can help a team improve on a week-to-week basis, and he's a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's the thing. I think Joe Burrow has the leadership skills. That's like one of his like very good attributes.
Yeah, I don't think you can't. I don't think that you can not be a leader on a team that was so successful. Mm-hmm. LSU, like I said a couple weeks ago, they're the best they will go down as the best college football team in the history of college football.
Yeah,
for now.
Yeah, for now.
But what they were able to do this year, I mean, it speaks volumes to Ed Orgeron, Joe Burrow, and every other player on that team. But pull him out, put him on the Bengals. Are you a better team than you were with Andy Dalton?
Yeah,
probably a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an Andy Dalton fan, so
I don't think Andy Dalton's a bad quarterback, and that's what I mean. It's like if you put in Joe Burrow right now, you know, how many wins is that going to get you? Mm-hmm. You know, instead of having Andy Dalton out there, I don't think it's significant.
No,
but I think having Chase Young on your team, you know, gets you the same amount of wins back.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point. It's a good take. Like
Redskins are hitting the freaking lottery in this draft, man. It's kind of the same thing that happened the year the Chargers got Joey Bosa. It's like everybody's going to move up to draft quarterbacks, and you just got to
sit there
pick for the best player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the lovely parts about the draft. That's why Draft Day is one of my favorite movies.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
But yeah, man, that's my take. I'll be updating you guys on some NFL draft stuff as the days get closer. We're gonna have the combine here, I think next month. Not here, obviously. Not here, obviously, but we're gonna have the Vegas.
I saw a crazy thing that they're gonna do the draft at the Bellagio fountains.
I saw that. I don't know how much of it's truth. I mean, I could see it being on the fountains, but then I saw something else where it was like draft picks will take a boat to and from the stage, and I was like,
I think that they'll probably do that for like the second or third day. You know how they have those like one-offs where they're like, oh, we're going to have this person announce the draft pick. I can't imagine that they're going to do that with every freaking pick.
That's what I'm saying.
That would take forever.
Yeah. That would take
And I love watching the draft, but
You seen the first day or the...
No, like the second and third day where it's like, you know, they're going by picks faster. They're not announcing all of them.
Oh, they're not going up on stage, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, they still go up on stage. They just don't televise every pick anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They'll you know, a player will get drafted, they'll go through the thing, and then they'll go up and they'll do the pick. It's a lot more fast paced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have less
and it's
time.
like they have guests and whatnot.
Yeah, they'll have like former players come up and, you know, make the draft selection. I know that like the one year Joey Bosa was drafted, he did the announcement the following day.
Yeah.
And it was the John Brand, I can't remember what his name was, but he was a linebacker from Ohio State.
That stadium, by the way, the Raiders stadium, when we were there, 2 weekends ago, does not look like it's going to be ready by the end of this year, by the way.
I don't think it is. I think they were talking about them playing at UNLV the last time I checked.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
is that
I heard something too.
That's the same thing that happened with Minnesota. Like their stadium got pushed behind, so they ended up having to play at the University of Minnesota for a year.
Yeah. But it sounds like the Rams Charger Stadium's on track.
Gosh, that looks like a freaking amusement park.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I know that you guys hate the Chargers and stuff, but I would love to go to a game up there.
Well, the Clippers Stadium's going to be over there too, or arena.
Nice.
Just do them all in one weekend.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, I got a stat of the day for you guys. Let me pull up this handy dandy phone. So, you saw the first touchdown for the Titans this weekend?
Yep.
It was caught by Dennis Kelly. He's a lineman. He is the heaviest player in the NFL playoff history to score a touchdown. 321 pounds. He is also tied for the tallest player at 6'8".
That's interesting because I feel like you would think somebody that big has caught one in the past. Just crazy that that's a first.
It's just 321 pounds. It's a huge human being.
Yeah, it is.
Huge bitch.
Yeah,
But nobody else has tried that in the history of playoff football.
I guess not.
I haven't.
That's also a funny that'd be such a bad stat to Oh,
Yeah,
I'm in
dude,
I'm in the record
Yeah,
books.
I caught a touchdown pass. I'm also the fattest dude to ever do it.
I'm the fattest bitch to ever catch a touchdown.
Yeah.
I wanted to share one with you guys too that I saw the other day.
Is it the Des Bryant one?
No, I sent you guys that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
That one's
That
Is it
one's
the
cool.
Antonio Brown being arrested?
no.
God.
This one was surprising to me, so I wanted
Alright.
to share it with you guys. This will be the first Super Bowl in 7 years that neither LeGarrette Blount or C.J. Anderson are playing in.
I saw that.
In how many years?
7.
Jeez.
Yeah, so you had
Because C.J. Anderson was last year, right? And LeGarrette Blount was the year before that, right?
and the year before that, and then
He was, like, on
C.J.
the
Anderson
Eagles.
played with the Broncos.
Oh, yeah. I
And
forgot.
LeGarrette Blount
Yeah,
played
so they
with
had the one with they
Patriots.
lost against the Seahawks, the one they won against the Panthers, and then LeGarrette Blount was with the Patriots.
Is he still playing? Blunt? Or
No.
That's so funny because it's always the first one was without Manning or
Yeah.
That's
Brady,
what I was.
you know
That's what
I
I
mean?
was prepared for, and I'm like, oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's just some random running back.
I didn't realize C.J. Anderson had played in that many Super Bowls. I totally forgot that he.
Yeah.
I mean,
Must
played-
be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he won. He
There's
won
a lot
one.
of guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys they'll play their entire career and never go to a Super Bowl.
It's always those one-offs. Like Ronnie Hillman has a Super Bowl ring.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just it's completely random. It's a team sport. You talked about it before.
Yeah.
It takes a whole team, and even if you're one great player, doesn't guarantee you're going to.
we
Super
talk
Bowl.
about Richard Sherman. He's got a Super Bowl ring, but look at the defense that he played with: Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor.
yeah.
Some phenomenal players out there.
Legion of
And
Boom.
Andrew Luck never went to a Super Bowl, and he was a stud.
Yeah.
Philip
Rivers.
There you
Say
go.
Philip Rivers.
There you go. Well, all right, everybody. We are the Three Amigos and a podcast, and we will be back next week.
See ya.
Later.